As the first 5-star limited remembrance character in Honkai Star Rail, Aglaea's kit can be a little bit confusing for some, but not to worry, in this video we will explain it super simple and easy for you to understand, and you know we don't waste any time on this channel, so let's go ahead and get into Aglaea's kit. We are not really that used to the whole Memorial Sprite system, so I want to simplify it for us, her overall kit. There are 4 main things that you need to understand about Aglaea so that you can get a whole grasp of her entirety of her kit. 1. She scales with feet speed, and this is like fundamental. Once you understand these 4, you pretty much will get a whole gist of everything. The rest of them is just nitty-gritties here and there, some number tweaking here and there. Scales with speed, which means any character that gives her more speed. For example, you think of the likes of maybe Hanya, action advances like Sunday, etc, etc. The faster she moves, the bigger that number goes, the better for her. That's what you want to understand. The second essential that you need to know, now that you already know she scales with speed, there is this new mechanic that she has called joint attacks. Now, it's very confusing, like joint attacks, follow attacks, so many different kinds of attacks. Let's simplify it and let's use an example of Topaz and Nambi as a comparison. Now, the similarities between Topaz and Nambi, as well as Aglaea, is both of them have summons. Adorable summon one, and the other one is a fantastic mannequin-ish thing, but both of them are considered summons. The next distinguishing thing, which is a difference, is that Topaz and Nambi is considered a follow-up attack, which can be used to proc other follow-up attacking stuff, whereas Aglaea is considered as a joint attack, which in future, unless specified, you might not be able to proc follow-up attacks. As well, that's something that is important to consider. There are key differences. Of course, joint attacks, the benefit of joint attacks is that both the Memorial Sprite and when Aglaea attacks are count as 2 separate instances, which means something like Robin's proc, if you can proc all the joint attack, you get double of Robin. Otherwise, you will normally only have 1 proc. Joint attacks help you proc the number of instances, in this case 2 if you're both your Memorial Sprite and Aglaea attack. But we are not done yet. Memorial Sprites are not that straightforward because it's of course a whole new mechanic. I want to elaborate more on it as well. The Memorial Sprite counts as a separate unit on field. Now when you use a character, for example like Tingyun, because if let's say you want to buff the Memorial Sprite, the energy that you get, for example, goes to Aglaea. However, if you use a team-wide buff, for example the likes of Ho Ho, because the Memorial Sprite is also being targeted on the field because it's a whole team-wide thing, you don't get double energy restore. The energy restore only counts once. That's a very important gimmick that you need to count. So although you buff Memorial Sprite, Aglaea might get it, but if you double buff both of them, it doesn't mean it double stacks. So that'll be like quite OP, right? So there's some nitty-gritties that you need to understand, and it kinda, once you know this, it falls, a lot of things falls in line. And the last thing but you need to know of is understanding that she has a massive energy usage. She needs a lot of energy and she is one of the highest in the game by far. So this is very important. Once you understand these 4, the builds, everything else will start to fall in line. Now let's jump in with Aglaea's best relics. Out of all of the sections, this is the easiest section out of all. It's very clear what she wants. She's looking for speed, she's looking for damage instances, be it crit or other sources that you provide. So my top recommendation for the 4-piece is going to be Hero of Triumphant Song. This is the new set that's being released in 3.0 and onwards. Why is it so good? You get 6% speed, just the Memorial Sprite being on field, very easy to hit. At the same time, when Memorial Sprite attacks, both Aglaea and Garment Maker both get crit damage 30%. Lasts 2 turns, very solid as well. This is definitely by far the top pick, but I understand because it's a new set, not all of you might have the resources to get this top tier perfected out. Some of you earlier players into the game, that you maybe started really long time ago, you're a long-term player already, Master of Wowee is a solid set as well. It gives you in the 4-piece speed 6% as well as basic attack damage increase by 10%. Notice how I'm just skipping over the attack. She already gets a lot of attack in her overall kit, so it's not the most significant thing, but it's still a nice juicy thing to just put a cherry on top of the cake. Other than that, you can go for a 2-piece Scholar in Erudition, 2-piece Crit Rate, as well as a 2-piece Sacredos Relief Ordeal if you just simply don't have a 4-piece to go. Otherwise, a 4-piece Scholar Lost in Erudition is also decent, tied for 3rd place with a 2-piece in my opinion, in terms of efficiency of farm and value that it adds. But overall, top pick, Hero of Triumphant Song. What are main stats I'm focusing on? For the feat over here, I'm going clearly just go for speed. Speed is the best out of all of them. It's probably the top pick. Your body, depending on how your crit ratios look, focus on crit rate, crit damage. These two are your main focuses as well. Now, planet ornaments are even simpler. She basically only has a few choices that she wants. Wondrous Banan is probably the best in slot, given that she gets a lot of crit which she wants. At the same time, she will have her summon on the field, getting even more crit, so she benefits fully from this set. Some alternatives, but really Wondrous Banan is like so much better. You can go for Firmament Frontline Glamour, which gives you a lot of damage percentage if you hit the thresholds, which she very, very easily does, especially if you have a speed boot or, for example, certain other speed substats, or maybe even her signature Lightcone as well. So this is another option, and of course, the next one that you can think about is Rutilant Arena, which gives you a lot of crit rate as well, and gives you a lot of damage to basic attack skill, which she does attack quite often in that form. So, but top pick Wondrous Banan. If you're talking about main stats here, I would liken to go for elemental damage bonus. Is a clear number one. Attack is not really very useful on her. And of course, for the link rope, because of a high energy cost, you want to go for energy regeneration rate. No one should be trying to fulfill attack percentage. That's in my opinion. And that rounds up the relics for Aglaea. So let's jump in first, analyzing this Lightcone. What makes it good and why it's so strong? Time movement and go, Aglaea's signature Lightcone is a very, very high base attack Lightcone. 635 is rivaling one of the highest Lightcones in the game, like Herta's signature Lightcone. Really, really strong. You have here the effect which gives her everything she needs, which is speed. The more speed she has, the more damage that she does basically. She wants to attack faster, can speed up. She has a lot of energy requirements for her as well. Each stack of Brocade that you get when the wearer and her Memorable Sprite attacks, she moves very fast. You get 9% crit damage for both of them. Stacking up to 6 times, this is a whopping 54% crit damage. That is a really, really huge amount. Once you reach the max stacks of like 6, this Brocade would additionally increase basic attack damage dealt by 9% each stack. So you get a 54% crit damage, 54% basic attack. That is ridiculous amounts of damage. It's insane amounts, as well as the speed which she can really use. The one thing, of course, it's going to be best in slot. We all know in the back of our mind, signatures are always usually going to be best in slot. But the difference between this, as well as the other options, as we will find out, is there are very, very few free options. One new one that's coming up that's not in the game right now, as of time recording, is probably going to be Genius Greetings. This is a gacha 4-star Lightcones. There are some free-to-play options, just bear with me. Let's talk about this new one that's coming out as well, because covering these two new ones for Aglaea will be great. This Lightcone here, the 4-star signature, gives her a lot of attack percentage. 16% when wearer uses out, additionally increase basic attack damage by 20%. It is nice, it's good amounts of damage. The attack doesn't matter as much as other characters because she already gets a lot of attack percentage. So this one not super OP, but still it is a 4-star. It has 476 base, which is comparable to the free-to-play one that we will see in a bit. So this one's okay, it's nice, it's not super OP. I think the free-to-play one might be a bit more attractive, especially since some of you might be tempted to pull on this. For those of you who don't have either of this, let's talk about some options now in the game, some of your other options. First thing you notice, there are so few Lightcones right now in the game. Really takes me back to 1.0 where we were even considering the 3 stars. And the thing is, the 3 stars are actually quite good. Now, honestly, the second best Lightcone for her right now in the game is probably going to be Sweat Now, Cry Less. This is unfortunately a Battle Pass Lightcone, so you have to spend money for it. And why is it so good? It gives you crit rate, does similar things to what her signature gives. At the same time, it also gives you a damage increase of 24%. No criteria, just needs the Memo Sprite to be on the field. This is really solid, a lot of damage. If for those of you who are planning to go Battle Pass buyers in the long term, getting this to S5, this gives you a lot of crit rate, 20%, at the same time 36% damage increase overall. This is really, really solid also. So great alternative, but unfortunately does cost a bit of money and time if you are trying to maximize it as Super Imposition 5. That's probably the second right now. Another option that you have is the free-to-play one. You probably might have picked this up for your Remembrance MC, but with Victory in a Blink at Super Imposition 5, you can get this in the Memory of Chaos shop as well. 24% crit damage, fantastic. great amounts of crit damage, which is very similar, the opposite of basically what the Battle Pass gives. Because Battle Pass gives 12% crit rate, this gives you crit damage 24% at Super Imposition 5, which every free-to-play can get over time. When Wearer Memorable Sprite uses an ability on ally target, unfortunately the second part here, not as useful, but the main thing is you get high stats, 476, which is very similar to the Gacha 4-star, as well as the crit damage, unlike the attack percentage and damage that you might get from the Gacha 4-star. So this is a pretty good alternative for those of you free-to-play players. Good base attack, good amounts of crit damage. The alternative, the third pick, Reminiscence. This is a strong one, for even though it's just a 3-star. Unfortunately, 4-2-3 base attack, DPS characters generally want a higher base attack. Over here, when Memorable Sprite turn starts, Wearer and Memorable Sprite each will gain 1 stack of Commemoration. Each stack increases damage by 12%, going up to 48%. So good amounts of damage bump, unfortunately lacks a bit of base attack. At this point, of course, talking about the Remembrance Lightcone in this state is not the only thing I want to share. There is another angle that you can go about doing things is if you already have a very high base attack Lightcone. For example, you have Into the Unreachable Veil, or you can check those Lightcones that you have spare. If you already have very, very high base attack Lightcones, and you are a total free play, meaning you do not pull for her signature, Aglaea's signature, you do not pull for the 4-star Gacha Lightcone, some of the options is to go for high base attack Lightcones, extremely high, like 600 plus, or even maybe 580. These are options you can go for to temporarily tide you through in the meantime. They will be usable, especially if you don't want to force yourself to spend money. I don't want any of you to feel like you need to force yourself to spend money, so I'm giving you some options. We will start things off with her most popular, and I promise you we will get into more friendlier teams because this one that you see on screen is a bit expensive. I'll give us some options as well. Best team for 3.0 definitely is going to be Sunday, Robin, and Ho-Ho. Now I want to elaborate as well because putting these characters here and not elaborating doesn't really help us understand much to give us alternatives, right? Why are these characters so good? Is firstly, of course, Harmony characters like Robin or any characters with a lot of push, for example, team-wide action advance, Harmony characters have access to dance, maybe some of them have action advancing in their kit, are really strong for Aglaea because she wants to move faster, and a lot of these characters have it in their kit, or for example in dance Lightcone that you can use to push up your entire team. So a double Harmony, even if they are not Sunday or Robin, has ability to even slap in like a double dance if we actually have like a double dance. I know some of us might not, but Robin is great. She adds a lot of instances of damage, and the faster Aglaea attacks, the more damage that Robin also can provide. She also benefits from it directly. So it's a very symbiotic, beneficial relationship to both of them as well. Robin is a very, very strong support. But the best one out of them, all of them, is probably going to be Sunday because he is the summoner buffer. However, I know a lot of places you will see is like Sunday is best. I don't just want to talk about Sunday and Robin because I understand you guys need more options. Don't worry, it's coming. But let's explain the last one, which is Ho-Ho. Ho-Ho gives a lot of attack to the whole entire team, including the Memo Sprite. At the same time, she also gives you, other than AoE heal, she also gives AoE energy, and it's a percentage base from both Sunday as well as Ho-Ho, which benefits high energy requirement characters, for example, like Aglaea. Now we talk about premium teams, let's give us some options, because obviously this video is supposed to be very friendly, as we always do on the channel. The best alternative that most of us will be thinking of is Remembrance MC. And Remembrance MC is actually a strong substitute. If you do not have one of the two siblings, slot in Remembrance MC in either slot will work really fine. At the same time, some of you will be like, EOD, I don't even have either of them. What do? There are two other options that you can play, and these are quite affordable. The idea thought process is you want action advances, stuff that move fast, and Harmony characters so that you can help play to her strengths, even better if you have some kind of speed modifiers. Which is why, for a cheaper alternative, my two recommendations for the slot here, and of course these three characters can really just move around in any of these boxes because these center two are basically Harmony boxes. I just have them slightly separate to look at distinguishing characters, but doesn't mean they are in this box means they are restrained. Esther and Hanya both give some sort of speed buffing, which is really solid, as they give a lot of speed. Hanya herself also scales with speed, can pass it on, which is really very nice, especially if you're thinking of a single target hyper carry kind of style. Hanya excels in that. Esther gives team-wide speed buffing, which is really very good if you are looking for your other characters to also move up a little bit. She's free. Esther is free. Hanya, you might have gotten her along the way as well. So these are quite solid options, especially if you're looking to play the same style of teams, but you just don't have the similar amount of premium options. At the same time, if you're looking at Sunday's Action Advance and you really like that, you want to get in on that. Some other options you can consider, of course, is like Sparkle, Bronya, Tingin for her energy, although it's a flat amount, still a good amount of buffing. These are some options that you can consider if you want to run the main style that everyone is playing, but you are just not at the premium level. For supports and sustain, Ho in my opinion is like the best in slot because she gives a lot of energy, team-wide AoE, really solid. But if you have any of the other sustains, they are all not too bad. My preference is going to be Lingsha, Aventrine, followed by Fushen, and your other supports, pretty much all are okay, but Ho is by far the best in slot because she provides a lot of energy attack team-wide to help the entire team that basically no other support currently does it better than Ho for Aglaea. We might have in future, who knows. But that is for the best team for 3.0. Overall, what are my thoughts? Is she actually free-to-play friendly? Now, this is a really tricky one. With time to come, as more Lightcones, more characters added in the game, Aglaea is definitely a solid character that is super affordable. She doesn't even need massive amounts of investment. She just needs good amounts of speed. Her team compositions are so varied, so broad as well, as we talked about in the teams section. She can use a lot of free play characters, teammates, and at the same time, the only thing holding her back right now is just the nature of Remembrance still being in its very early days. Not having too many Lightcones, not having too many perhaps other teammates that want to build and stack off of the speed category, other summoners that are working hand in hand as a dual DPS. But all of this will change with time, and my recommendation for her is she's still a solid pick for anyone who's looking for a fast-paced DPS. Maybe I might have use for Hanya's 200 plus relics on my account right now. And anyways guys, thank you so much for your attention. If you're interested in other content of Honkai Star Rail, check out these two other videos as well. See you guys in the next video.